this meeting to order. This is the Select Board meeting for Thursday, September 9th. First item on the agenda is a salute to the American flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Lorraine, did you print out an Lorraine, can I have the agenda just...
What's that?
I don't have an agenda, Lorraine.
I don't either.
Did you print out a couple copies?
I did.
Okay. The couple of copies of the agenda that were scooped up. No, it's okay. No, it's okay. Just to let you know, it's because there is no real agenda this evening. The only item on it under new business is comments from the public. We just do not have any business to do this evening, so that's why we didn't feel the need to print a whole lot of agendas. So, the next item on the agenda is to approve the agenda.
Give me mine back.
I make a motion we approve the agenda as written.
Second.
Okay. Did you want to amend that for old business to include our letter from the MMA regarding Buzzell Road?
Oh, yes, I'm sorry. We want to add to it a letter from MMA on Buzzell Road, and also to accept the minutes as...
Hold on, that's the next one. You're rushing.
Okay, sorry.
Let's approve first. Can we have, so a motion to amend to include Buzzell.
To include the letter from MMA on Buzzell Road.
Second.
Any discussion?
Nope.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, next item on the agenda is approval of the minutes.
I make a motion we approve the minutes of August 12th as amended.
Second.
Any discussion?
Nope.
All in favor?
I
Aye.
Motion to approve the minutes of this last week's meeting.
make a motion we approve the minutes of last week's meeting.
Second.
Any discussion?
Nope.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, under old business, the only item is we had some questions regarding Buzzell Road, and I would like to read an email from, I don't have my email to her.
Right here?
Oh, it's right here. I got it. Nope. I wrote an email to MMA on August 13th, and I started it by saying that we had some questions, and one of them was regarding Buzzell Road. And I wrote, "This road has no record of having been accepted as a town way, though the town reconstructed the road in the 1970s and performed summer maintenance and winter plowing as it did for many camp roads at the time. As part of the maintenance, a culvert was placed, the road was paved, and ditches were dug. Do statutes 30A, 3401 through 3403, and 23, 3251 require the town to continue maintenance on this road? Is there language in the statutes pertaining to how a road must be accepted? Is there language that states that repairs made on a road does not imply ownership of the road? I feel that I have read the latter somewhere, and I am unable to find it in the state statutes of 23, chapters 301 through 313. She emails me back, and this is Attorney Sue Pilgrim. "Larissa, I am writing to answer your two questions. One, today you asked about the status of the roads listed in Article 41 of the June 12, 2010 town meeting warrant. Article 41 proposed that several roads be accepted by the voters as town roads. The notes of the meeting indicate that the article failed to pass. Thus, no action was taken on this article. Because there was no action taken, there was no change in the status of any of the roads. All roads would remain in the whatever status they were in, example, private road, public easement, etc., before the vote occurred. Two, I am also writing to answer the question that you originally sent to us on August 13th. Mary Merrifield indicated that you called in response to my request for more information and let her know that the Buzzell Road is not a road that you already received legal advice on. First, the statute cited 30A MRSA 3401 through 3403 do not deal with culverts and road ditching. These statutes deal with, quote, drains, unquote, as they relate to sewer systems and storm water systems. Road culverts are dealt with in a different set of statutes. Thus, the statutes cited above do not obligate the town to maintain road culverts that were placed on private roads. Second, 23 MRSA section 3251 assumes that the culverts are placed on town-owned highways. The town has no obligation to maintain a private road, even if it has previously placed culverts on that private road. In fact, it would be unconstitutional for the town to maintain a private road or road culvert. Third, the fact that the town improperly maintained private roads and did some repair and construction work on those roads would not by itself convert those roads into town roads. This is particularly true if the repairs and maintenance were done at the request of and with permission of the abutting landowners on the road. In many circumstances, the owners of private roads ask towns to maintain or repair the private roads. If that was the case for the Buzzell Road, maintenance and repair by permission and consent of the private road owners is not the type of maintenance that would create a town road by prescription. It is possible that under certain circumstances, a public easement or town road may be created by prescription. You should review the discussion of prescriptive easements in Chapter 2 of our Roads Manual. The elements of the prescriptive use are discussed in detail. Ultimately, only a court could decide for certain whether a particular road was transformed into a town road through prescriptive use. If the landowners went to court, they would have to prove to a court that all the elements of prescriptive use were met. You also asked about the process of accepting a road as a town road. There are a few options in this area. We also have a detailed discussion of these options in Chapter 2. Generally, if a road will be offered to the town by private landowners, one or more deeds describing the boundaries of the roads and transferring the land interest would be needed, as well as a town meeting vote to accept the road. If you have an ordinance that deals with road acceptance, it may add requirements to the process and may also specify certain construction standards that the road must meet before it is offered to the town meeting. I do not think that Maine law specifically states that road repairs do not create or imply ownership. You may have read this in the Roads Manual, as there are several locations where the manual states something along these lines. The manual's discussion of prescriptive use discussed above does say something similar. I do not know when all maintenance of the Buzzell Road ceased. If it has been many years, you might consider whether the criteria for statutory abandonment has been met, and we recognize that it has not been many years. If the town has not maintained the road for 30 or more consecutive years, the Selectmen could vote to consider it abandoned under this statute. If you read the prescriptive use discussion in Chapter 2 and there are real questions about the road's status, the board's other option would be to ask a court for a declaratory judgment that the road is a private road, or to go through the statutory discontinuance process to discontinue any interest that the town might have in the road. This process requires a town meeting vote and possible payment of damages, if any. It is discussed in Chapter 3 of the manual. I hope that this is helpful. Please let me know if you have any questions.
That's my copy.
I'm giving it to Lorraine for a moment.
Okay.
Okay. Under new business, we do not have any board business to be done, and we are changing the title of the last item on the agenda from any other business to comments from the public. So, under new business, comments from the public. Okay?
Oh, here we go.
I understood everything you read from MMA. So what is the status now with, like I asked you, I think it was 2 weeks ago, about the roads? MMA clearly says that whatever was a town road at the vote of the, is still a town road. So what is the status now of the list of roads that were on that thing in June?
My initial response, and this, I think, from her statement, is that because those roads were assumed to be town roads, probably through prescriptive use, and we can certainly follow up with MMA to confirm that, they have had uninterrupted, continuous maintenance and plowing, that they would continue to receive uninterrupted maintenance and plowing under prescriptive use.
So the only two that changed because of that were the two that weren't accepted.
The two that had stopped having maintenance for a period of time.
And Lakeside Drive were the only two on there that were affected because they weren't voted in. All the other roads go back to just the way they were before. So we still plow them, we still maintain them.
I guess again, my question would be, and I understand what you're saying, that with the evidence that was presented from the road committee last fall.
We gave that to them. We gave them all that information when they sent us this information.
How'd you give it to them?
The MMA,
Yeah.
they called us and asked us for it.
I mean,
They asked
emailed
us
it to
about all the
them.
information from Buzzell Road as we went through this process. Because you guys kept coming up and asking about Buzzell Road, so we gave them the information that we had on it, and this is where the decision has come from.
The information that was given when you asked the question, you mean, that was in writing? Is that the information you mean?
No, we wasn't in writing, it was by phone call. We talked to them about what we had.
I meant the other information that the road committee had.
That has not, the
Oh,
information from Bill Gannon has
Oh,
not been brought up to
No,
MMA.
that hasn't been brought to MMA.
Okay.
Okay. But if you heard in there, we've done work, and we all admit that, we've done work on Buzzell Road, but what that says is just because you put a culvert in, or you went in and you did some grading, or you just did some patching, that doesn't make it a town road, so that's what they're
No,
saying.
I appreciate what
Yeah,
you're saying,
yeah.
Ted, but the road committee had far more documentation saying that was a public road than what was presented, I guess, is what.
I think, can I have that paper back, Lorraine, for just a moment? I think that what this board will be discussing in the next couple of weeks and is her suggestion, which is I'm trying to find the right wording that she uses. That we could request something from a ruling, a preliminary judgment.
Here's that file. Tell me which part of that you're talking about.
You're getting me tonight, Ted, I don't have my glasses.
You want mine?
This is the file that,
That's the road committee's file that Bill Gannon gave me on my first day in, after he took me on a tour of Buzzell Roads and all the other private roads. That's the
Okay.
file he gave me.
Yeah.
That the road committee put together.
is the letter, they got all this? MMA?
No,
No, that's the road committee's package that you were just
Oh, okay.
referring to. That's all you said, what about all the evidence the road committee put together?
Right.
So that's what they put together. I don't know which part of it you're asking me about.
Like this form here that Mr. Driscoll filled out, discontinuing the last part of that road. In '06, was it?
Yeah, this is a mileage change form.
You're right. He changed the mileage with the state. On what part of, how much of that was a town road?
Let's see. This is Red Gate Road.
What's that?
This is Red Gate Road. That's what this is for. This is for Red Gate Road and 13th Street.
Oh, I gave you the wrong one then. There's another one there.
declared, that's what it is. The board's other options would be to ask a court for a declaratory judgment that the road is a private road. So that is something that I would want to ask questions to MMA. What does that mean? What does that process look like? But she says in it that the process requires a town meeting vote. I don't know if she's referring to declaratory judgment or if she's referring to a discontinuance, but I think that that's something that we can look into. She also makes it very clear that ultimately only a court could decide for certain whether a particular road was transformed into a town road through prescriptive use. And we may need to discuss with MMA how that can be, that we can go about that at clearly the lowest cost to the taxpayers. You know, what could we need to solve this question and put it behind us. And so what are the options? She's given us a couple options. We as a board will need to look at those options, speak to MMA to find out what those options fully entail and make a decision from there about how to proceed.
I guess, and I don't mean any disrespect at all, but the point I guess I have is the presentation done to the Selectmen by the road committee clearly convinced the majority of the Selectmen that that was a town road. And that's why the town started maintaining it again. And I don't know where the justification comes from that it's a private road now.
That's not what happened. You guys approved to do the maintenance on it because you felt that what they presented to you made it a town road, right?
That it always was a town road.
Yeah, it was written in the minutes that that's what you said, that they put enough information forward that you felt that it was a town road.
It always
So that's
was.
why you guys agreed. The problem with that is selectmen cannot take a private road and make it a town road. It has to go to town.
We didn't.
Well, by approving the snow plowing and stuff, I read the minutes, and you guys had said that road committee had presented enough information that we feel that you are a public road, so therefore we will plow that this winter. This was last year.
No.
But what happens is selectmen cannot change the road status. It has to go to the town meeting, which it did this summer, and the town voted no that Lakeside Drive and Buzzell Road were not public roads by not voting them in as public roads. So they just stayed the same way they were. So we cannot do any maintenance on them.
But this goes back to what we're just saying in that document.
Yeah, well, the document, that was all about Red Gate Road.
The next one had Buzzell Road on it, though. The next one I showed you had...
No, the second one, the only one with discontinued was Red Gate Road. There's no Buzzell here. There's 12th Street, 13th Street.
Second sheet.
That's Red Gate and 13th.
There's one that cut 0.3 of a mile off Buzzell Road in there somewhere, Ted.
Oh, that's it.
It is not something that we can solve tonight. Under old business, we had been asked about our correspondences with the MMA and what MMA had to say about Buzzell Road and the status of it, and you asked specifically about the statutes that Mr. Dunham had brought forward and we had both written down. I wanted to therefore, in a public meeting, since it had been asked about in a public meeting, read what MMA had to say about those statutes, backing up what I had answered you to begin with. Now that we have some clear path marked out by MMA about how to proceed with Buzzell Road, we can start following that path and go down it. And one of two things can happen. We can go to town meeting again and make them each separate warrant articles and have the town vote again, yes or no. We can go with the declaratory judgment that she's suggesting that we perhaps pursue from a court. And that might be something that we'll need to look into, see what the cost to the town for that would be, how we would even begin such a process. Or the people on Buzzell Road, as she said, are able to take the town to court themselves. And the burden of proof is on them that they meet all of the criteria for prescriptive use.
Well, I appreciate you answering the questions that Scott had, and that wasn't... I appreciate that. It was just... I'm still a little confused, I guess. It's a confusing issue.
It really
Yes, it
is.
is.
And it has been all these years when it comes to private and public roads. It's been difficult, especially when they made it so that we couldn't help them out, like we used to.
The portion of Red Gate Road that you're...
Could you say your name?
Carl Hodgson.
Thank you.
The portion of Buzzell of Red Gate that you're alluding to there was recognized as a town way as far back as 1939. Red Gate Road went down and it intersected with County Way, which connected to the end of Garvin Road, and that was the direct line that the people on that end of town used when they were headed for New Hampshire.
Okay, we know all this, and we've been through all this several times. The only way we can...
Wait a minute, I'm not done, Ted.
Okay.
You also said that the Board of Selectmen could not change the status of a road.
Right.
However, there is documentation where one selectman did in fact change the criteria of a road.
What those papers were a letter to the state telling them which roads we were changing, whether we were plowing or maintaining them.
They
didn't
would
say whether it was a private or public, and it came after the laws changed.
Right on
I've got it right here.
Right on the state records for the Town One report, those roads are shown as town ways, and for 40 years the town collected money for maintenance on those roads every year. And that record's right in Augusta.
Mr. Hodgson, I can take the printed material that Dennis has just provided.
No,
I can,
that's mine.
Oh, okay. Can fax it up to MMA, say this is continuing the discussion of Buzzell Road, and we can look at the declaratory judgment that she recommends from the court as well, and we can proceed from there.
Okay. I just wanted you to have it all. I didn't want you just taking part of it, that's all.
Okay, thank you.
Is that the paperwork that I'm going to receive? That
Yes, it is on Lorraine's desk waiting for you.
when I made that request, I made a request for all of the
Those are
communications that have gone back and forth.
but for MMA regarding Buzzell Road, and I went back to 2006, and there are only 2 emails that regard Buzzell Road between this office and MMA. MMA very often prefers for us to have phone conversations instead of emails. You have the entirety of the emails between MMA and this board. You have the email that I sent on August 13th. You have the response on August 17th. You have this response as of today from phone calls I made yesterday.
Okay. But from other phone calls that have been made in the past, MMA does not send you written confirmation?
Absolutely not.
Then I believe you should be asking for it so that there is a record that phone calls were made and questions were asked.
Thank you.
Scott Dunham, Lakeside Drive. I was the person that posed the questions up front, and I very much appreciate you taking the time to go to MMA. And I would certainly, on behalf of all the users of Bubbles Road, invite you to come down in the spring and inspect the multiple culverts on Buzzell Road and try to convince yourself that they're not involved in the stormwater management of this area. But beyond that, I would like to, I guess if I get the reading right, the plan by the town is to not to plow or maintain this portion of Buzzell Road. I'll call it the unaccepted portion of Buzzell Road. And I would like to remind the Board of Selectmen of a couple of facts that got us into this mess in the first place, is that in our research, we're unable to establish who the owner of this private road was. And that's part of the problem, that there is no owner of this road. The abutters don't own it. The people like myself who live in the Swan Division don't own it. There is no record of any easement or right-of-way across this road by any of us. So it would be impossible for us to even sign over an easement to the town for the road because we have no interest in the road. I'll also point out another fact, that it is impossible to get from the accepted part of Buzzell Road to the accepted road known as Langley Shore Drive or Langley Shore Road without crossing the unaccepted portion of Buzzell Road, which is kind of the same situation that you have down on 13th Street. Just remind you of those, and good luck. Thank you.
That would be interesting to look into. We were told that Cove Wood was a unique anomaly, of only example in the state. If that is not true, we will have to look into that as well. Any other business?
No, any other public comments?
Oh, right, that's what I meant. Any other comments from the public? Any announcements? Well, Apple Fest is on Saturday, September 18th from 9 a.m. until 3 p.m. here in the parking lots. Breakfast will start being served at 8, however, at the church. Cheese and pie sales also begin at 8. There will be a plant swap of fall plants that need transplanting and dividing, etc. at the Mary Grant Preserve. So if you are out separating out plants, or if you're digging up your dahlia bulbs, bring them in if you wish to trade for some other items. They will be doing that at the Mary Grant Preserve on Apple Fest Day. Any other announcements? Okay, then entertain a motion.
I make a motion, we adjourn.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, Mr. Kazak.